What's up, people? So, it's been a long time since I last updated. I have just finished 7 months from my ACL and meniscus surgery, and the last update was on month 3, so 4 months ago. Right now, I'm pleased to say that a lot has changed. There was a lot of improvement. Um, just in a very brief summary of my current state, I would like to do the three S's. So I call it strength, stretch, and strain. So strength is, well, explains itself. So strength, I am at 90, my left knee, left quads or left leg strength is for single leg press. I had a test with my physiotherapist. My single leg press is at 90% of my non-operated leg, so that's good. That says a lot of my quad strength. So my quad strength for my left leg, the operated leg, is at 90%. But my leg curl, so my hamstring strength, is still only at 80%. So that's on the strength side. On the stretch side, which is term it for the range of motion. So, after if I stretch out my leg and hang weights on my knee, a operated knee for about an hour, very light weights, about less than 5 kg. After an hour, I could straighten it fully, so zero degrees of flexion, and even slight hyperextension. So my normal leg has a natural maybe 5 degrees or 3 to 5 degrees of hyperextension. So right now my left leg is still not there yet. It's at about maybe 1 or 2 degrees, but it will get there. And to be honest, I don't need hyperextension, so I'm quite happy at the extension part. Now, at the flexion part, my my normal flexion, I'm quite flexible. I can do the Asian squat. Is I can touch my butt to my ankles, right? Um, on my operated leg, my left leg, I still can't do it. It's about maybe one thumb width of gap still left. It's getting there, and I think maybe in a few weeks. Sometimes if I really sit on it and stretch it out with substantial discomfort, I get there. But yeah, it's still not there yet. But I'm not worried. I think I'll get there. And yet, if I do like squats, back squats or front squats, it pretty much feels like it's ass to grass to me. Okay, then the last S is strain. So strain, basically the pain and the discomfort. So, I think I'm quite demanding on my recovery process. So, about month, I do enough. I tend to overdo stuff, and which puts my knee in quite a uncomfortable state after the exercises or strains. So, and then if I do a complete rest, then the pain goes away, the strain goes away. But then I do feel like I'm not improving in the strength and stretch part, right? The strength and flexibility part. So I'm still managing that. It's like trying to walk on a tightrope of pushing myself so that I'm strong and flexible enough to go back to my normal sports activities. At the same time, and balance that strain so that I don't walk around with a limp, or it doesn't impede my recovery process. So on the activity side, right now I'm basically doing full on strength training, and I'm restarting ollie lifts. So your snatch, clean and jerk exercises. So that's good. For cardio, I'm back to running. So I've been doing 45 minutes on treadmills and Since last week, I've started running outside again at 3 kilometers for about half an hour. I think this week I'm gonna try 5 kilometers, maybe take about 45 minutes. The thing is, I still, when I'm running, especially after a while, I still tend to go, you know, in a slightly crouched position. I cannot run tall because I don't know if it's psychological. I do think that it is maybe a 80% physiological and 20% psychological because if I run straight and tall, the impact on my left joint is still uncomfortable. So I tend to, try and reduce the impact by crouching a little bit and catching the weight with my muscles instead of the joint. Hopefully, with every run it gets better, and hopefully soon I can run tall, at least for the first 1 or 2 kilometers, and then when I get tired I start to crouch. I think that's understandable. In terms of physio exercises, I'm doing a lot of more plyometrics, so just jumping on one leg. I think it really helps, or coming down from a high position to a low position and trying to land as straight as possible on one leg, on my operated leg. And I think so. Activities such these physio exercises or activities that are straight line movements, whether it's straight forward, straight back, or even jumping from side to side on one leg, which I've started doing, and I fully recommend you guys, those who are in this process, in this journey together, to try it. That is really good, and I can do it without much fear. The only thing is, the last extension part. It's still a little bit tricky, but it's getting better, right? But I haven't tried twisting motions yet. So last week I was in Bali for a friend's wedding, and it's an Indian style wedding. So there was a lot of dancing involved, and I remember, my knee wasn't happy at the end of the night. I could hardly walk. They thought I was drunk. I was a little bit drunk, but more importantly, my knee was suffering. Okay, so that's where I am now. I want to give maybe a short summary of what happened, from the start to the end to where I am now. From the point where I got my surgery to where I am now. Because I do think that with regards to my recovery process, it's from now on. There is nothing much more to say, other than trying to improve on the three S's: the strength, stretch, and strain, right? So from now onwards to maybe a half a year from now, it's just becoming stronger. It become stretching more, becoming more flexible, the range of motion, and then trying to make the strain go away. So this might be my last video till a major change comes up again, maybe when I get back to wrestling, or go back to the dance floor, right? So I think it's worthwhile to kind of summarize on my journey. So the first month, up no, the first 2 weeks was the worst, right? So after the surgery for 2 weeks, I was bed bound, and basically there was a lot of pain, because the muscles and nerves and around the surgical area were all damaged by the surgery itself, and blood circulation was not working well. Things were swollen. I was bed bound, so I was just trapped lying in bed. um, I think the most challenging aspect of that was the pain management. So you know I remember I couldn't sleep more than 1 hour continuously, simply because it was that painful, right? So because you have to change, I have to flip around, and every flip cost a quite substantial amount of pain. Pain management when going to the bathroom, coming down from bed, when all the blood rushes down to the knee, and the lower joint was quite bad because it just feels like my knee was exploding. um, Going down from a standing to a sitting position, it always feels like, somebody's stabbing you in the knee. So that was bad. Pain management. So I didn't try and take a lot of pain, like really powerful painkillers. I stuck to just Panadols. First it was like 8 Panadols per day. Yeah, it was two per meal, and then two before I slept. And then by the second week, cut down to four because I halved the dosage. And then I don't remember taking any more after that. If I try to manage the pain myself. Uh, yeah. Otherwise, I think the thing that helped me the most was, of course, reading up other people's stories, how they recovered, and having a routine, right? So I was bed bound. I was not working. I had medical leave, and yeah. So I cut the day. I was in bed all the time, right? So I cut the days into each meal. So I was able to have 4 meals a day: lunch, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then a little bit of a supper before I sleep. And then with every meal, there were the exercises. Your leg flexions, your ankle flexions, and your straight leg kind of a pumps. Uh, you know. Quad contractions, and then your flexibility exercises, just trying to move a little bit to maintain. So you start to promote the flexibility and the healing, and then the massages was like crazily massaging myself after my bandages were off. Just in fear of scar tissues, and my knee just frozen in place. That was my biggest fear, to lose the mobility. And then after that, some kind of routine where you kind of release the tension by watching some nice Netflix movies to encourage yourself, or read some books. So I don't know, you can have your own routine. So that was the first 2 weeks. And then from then on, when I could come out of bed straight away, the next challenge was the I was bed bound for 2 weeks, right? So blood circulation was poor, and I could feel already not bed sores, but when you lie on one side for too long, your muscles start to ache and tingle. And so the next few challenges was, getting down on bed and trying to walk and trying to get used to crutches again. I had to go up and downstairs at my house, and yeah. So between the third week and the moment where I could, 6 weeks. So I wasn't allowed to put my legs down, my left leg down for 6 weeks. And so between second week and the sixth week, the challenge was the crutches, right? So I had to learn to walk on crutches, and by then I was going down. I was going to have my own little cardio, my crutch walk. I walk around for about 1 kilometer, half an hour every day, just to promote blood circulation. So with that helped. My muscles, was not sore anymore if I laid in bed. And yeah, I didn't suffer too much in terms of cardio, so that was good. But walking around in crutches and having the brace, and the fear of trying not to put any weight on my left leg was not good. So those with both ACL and meniscus surgery will know that the meniscus surgery part sets the recovery back by 6 weeks, because you don't want any weight to bear on the operated meniscus, right? Different from those who just had ACL surgeries. So eh, some of the challenges were, I almost slipped in fact I slipped one time just a small one, with my with my crutch on wet floor. So that was a challenge. And then from the time week 6 onwards, to the third month, I was off crutch, and I think the main challenge there from then on was just to be patient and trust the process, right? Because from then on, I could start bearing weight, which I did, and I tried for a little bit to hold on to a walking stick, but that didn't last long. Didn't like the look of that, and so I just hobbled around. And yeah, so from then on, it was just to be patient. I remember, at the start, the recovery was quite remarkable. So every day, every week, I felt like I could do something better. You know, it was getting better all the time. I could do something. I could go back to do something I used to do but couldn't do. But then by the third and fourth month, the progress kind of plateaued, right? So I remember the main challenge always was not the strength or exercises that require strength, because the muscles would feel okay. It's just the final press up, when my leg was from a half a flex position to this completely straightened position. This little straightening part was always difficult, and by month 4 and 5, I just couldn't. It just didn't feel like it was improving. Right? It felt as weak. It felt as painful. But then in month 5, something happened. I remember something happened in my life. I was in a bad place, so I took like 2 weeks off. I didn't train. I was just lying in a horizontal position. I was sitting down. I was resting for that 2 weeks, and then remarkably, after that, this straightening part suddenly improved. It jumped to the next stage, and I do feel that sometimes it really means that you have to be patient. You have to maybe do less and let the injured area rest, and that actually helps. But after that, I went back to doing a lot of stuff. So I went back to, I took advantage of that sudden marked recovery, and to start running, and to start doing my ollie lifts and full squats. And so yeah, so month 6, month 7, here we are, just trying to improve bit by bit the three S's: strength, stretch, and strain. And I got it all clear from both the doctor, the surgeon, and the physiotherapist to do whatever I want, right? Except for returning to full contact sports like wrestling, boxing, or even dancing. They said that if I want to return to that kind of full contact sports where I need to cut different directions and twist, maybe I probably would need to do some tests before I go back. But going to gym, running, sure, go ahead. It's up to me. It's up to how much I want to do and how much I want to manage my recovery and the strain that comes with it. And so yes, in my next video, I will post a little montage of the training exercises that I'm doing now. And yeah, so I hope you guys could take something away from this series. I consider myself quite lucky. There was no major hiccup in my recovery process. Of course, my trainer VJ, he helped a lot in this recovery. Oh yes, and I think nutrition is quite important. So I think vitamin C, glucosamine, and after that, a powder that improves cartilage. I can't remember the name now. Take it. It helps strengthen the cartilage and recovery. Trust in the process. Don't give up. Every day. These are things like every day you need to keep doing something. But the things that you do every day will not show up per day. It's not like you go to gym today and immediately you see results, but day after day they accumulate, and you will feel the improvement in each, and from the accumulation of these small efforts. And yeah, so yeah, hopefully by in another 2 months I can go back to dancing, and in another 3 months I can go back to my sports again, and I can you know call it a full recovery. All right, thanks guys, see you.